Hello and welcome. I am the Sterling and today we are playing Going Medieval. In the last few episodes we have been quite busy. We finally finished the Oak Brethren Temple and we've moved the Restitutionists into the cathedral. We've put towers over the top of the TITS, including building a mining outpost over near where all the lime and iron resources are. And in the last few episodes we've actually been receiving quite a few new settlers. We are now up to 22 settlers. And now that brings me on to our problem. I'm now finding that we are running out of food. The farmland, cattle and sheep and goats, and our chicken supply just don't quite cut it anymore. I'm now finding on a regular basis, more and more often, I have to go and hunt, which is just not good enough. I need to build more farms. And so this episode, that's what we're going to do. So sit back, grab a cold one, and let's get started. So I guess the first question you're going to ask me is, well, where on earth are we going to build more farmland? We have already taken up all the space we can within the castle. And that would be correct. We have taken up all the space within the castle. Now, I could just be lazy and build some farmland out here and call it a day. But we both know that's just not me. So am I going to start a small little project to perhaps add some more farmland somewhere? No, I'm not. Okay, are we going to start a medium sort of project? Something along the lines of what we did over here? No, we're not. Okay, are we going to do a big project then? Something more along the lines of the temple setup that we did over here? Guess what? No, we are not even going to go to that extent. We're going to do a mega project, the largest project I've done so far. We have plenty of space out here in front of the front gate, unlike the rest of the map, to which we're basically filling up. So I want to fill this space. So what's this going to look like? Well, basically, I'm going to build a wall out from this tower here, across the front here, and the back over to this tower here. I'm going to do the exact same thing on this side. Build out a wall out to the tower here, to a tower over here, and then back to our tower over here. I'm then going to fill in the moat, knock down these walls, and build farmland or whatever else that I want to place in these spaces. There will be another new front gate that will be connected to this front gate with a nice big bridge that runs through, with the walls being raised up to the height of the towers so we can shoot down as people are walking the Bridge of Death. Working name, of course. I'll then find some fandangled way to actually build the moat around our new walls and hopefully not destroy the water physics, working out a way to reconnect it and make it look good. Famous last words. Now, where on earth am I going to start this? And that has been my biggest problem so far. I have honestly just been sitting here trying to work out where on earth I'm going to begin this project, because I need to try and make sure that I don't ruin our defenses, nor do I want to make it look like crap. It's going to work. So we're just going to work with what we know. We know that the wall coming off this tower here will be the same length as this wall here to this tower, as it has been for this space here, and as you guessed it, this space here. We're keeping it all about the same. So let's start by planning out the new front gate. We can then start terraforming around said front gate, and we'll take it from there. Because let's be honest, as per usual, I'm just basically making it up as I go along. Though I do promise I have an idea in my head and I think it's going to work. I really just don't want to destroy the aesthetics of the castle. I love the look of that. Sadly, it's got to change. So let's get to work. First, let's destroy this storage space here. Looking at it, I won't have to touch this one just yet. I will have to destroy this ladder and I will have to destroy this stuff out the front here. Now, before I go any further, have one last look at the front of the castle. Because after today, the front is not going to look the same again. Now, let's start by bulldozing down these two walls here. Get them out of the way, because they're going to be gone. And now let's start planning out where this wall is going to sit. We know that there is the edge of the towers, so we're going to go back 5 for the wall. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There, that will be the wall. Now, with this whole project we're doing, I don't want to connect to the moat until we're ready. Only because I don't want to fiddle with the water too much, because in the past, doesn't work out too great. So we know the space between the tower and the edge of the moat is 5. So there's 5, that's 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. There you go. That is our wall. Now we'll do the edge of the tower, which is 4 off of the wall, 5 including the wall. Done. Now it's 7 across. Once again, 7 across. And then 7 back. Done. That will be our first corner tower. Now let's mimic that on the other side. And there we go. That is the plans for the new entry. Now let's hit start and let them dig that out. Then we can have a better idea of what we're working with. And there we go. We've now dug out the central section for the walls and the towers here in the middle. Now I've been sitting here having a bit of a look. We've got the towers here and that's the wall. So the wall will come across there. So this is the space either side where we'll have the farms or whatever else we decide to put in this area. It's quite long as you see, but it's very narrow. And I'm deliberately making it narrow so then it doesn't jut out too far from the already established castle. But after having a good look, in usual fashion, I've changed my mind. I now want to push the towers all the way out to here. Now, the problem with pushing this section out this far is it's going to look ridiculous. We're going to have this big, massive section that juts out here, comes all the way across the air, all the way back. It's just going to be too much for this section. So I've been flowing with a few ideas on how I'm going to actually get away with doing this and not make it this massive eyesore. There's not much I can actually do about it over here. I'm going to just have to continue with the original plan. So the wall will come across here, there'll be a tower over here, then another wall that will come and connect to this tower here. The reason why my hands are tied over here is because of the river and the moat section. It really does limit what I can do. But don't get me wrong, you should all be used to me changing my plans midway through by now. So by the time I get to over here, I might have a completely different idea. Don't know. But as for over here, I'm actually flirting with a few different ideas. One of the main ideas I'm playing with is maybe having the wall come all the way out to in line with this tower and then whack, build a tower. And then perhaps build the wall on an angle all the way up from tower to tower, encasing this section as well into this part of the castle, and then knocking all this wall down here. And we've got this massive big chunk of castle here. And it's not so jutted out. It would wrap around nicely. Similar to what we've done over here, but on a much larger scale. That's one of the ideas. Another idea is, once again, we have the tower here. All my ideas so far have this section here as a straight with a tower. So we'd have the tower here and then perhaps wrap around with the environment, as you can see. So the tower would go straight and then wrap around here connecting, and the moat would then also wrap around, following the topography of the land that we've already got. That's another idea. It could look nice. They're my two main ideas at the moment, other than just having a straight wall, which, as I've already stated, and I'll state again, I don't want that. I really don't want to square this up too much. I think it would look ridiculous. Truth be told, I'm already a little bit heartbroken that I'm destroying the front of the castle. I love that big straight wall, but all in the name of progress. It was either I destroy the look of the front or I destroy the look of the back. And I was not going to destroy the look of that. I love the back of our castle. Look at that. Especially with this big waterfall and the way the castle integrates with the nature. It's awesome. I love it. Now, we've still got so much that we have to do here that this is going to give me plenty of time to contemplate how we're going to do this section over here if I do decide to change it, and how I'm going to do this section over here. So first things first, I'm going to have to hit play and let them start digging out this little section that I've planned out for them. I'm also going to have to cut back on here so then we can have the 5 spaces in between for the moat. I'm then going to build some ladders down here so then we can start digging out the next layer down, and then I'll plan to dig out underneath this soil here so it all crumbles away. You'll see what I mean as we go along. So first things first, the steps. Next, let's shrink this. Perfect. Then 5 across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's our moat. Perfect. All that's left is to hit play and let them get to work. They were off to to a slow start digging at the start of the episode, but wow, they're not wasting any time now, which is fantastic. Now, as I was saying before, I really need to keep my eye on the food. At first glance, it looks like we got plenty because we got 2,861 under the category of food. But in reality, that isn't the case. We have a lot of booze, which, remember when we didn't used to have alcohol? Now we've got so much of the darn thing. Look, 1,368 aged fine wine. Now, do they just produce a lot of it? Doubtful. It's wine. They're probably just not drinking it. We don't tend to hold on to the better alcohol such as beer and ale all that much. So we know what our people drink. But when you have a look into the raw food, we got bugger all. Like proper bugger all. And when we look into meals, we're down to our last 191 packaged meals and 5 luscious meals. So as you see, we're barely hanging on. So I'm constantly keeping my eye on where our food stocks are because I'm often having to hunt, as I said before, or find berries or whatever. Even over here, something's killed this deer, we're going to claim it. We need the food. These mushrooms, we're going to claim them. We need the food. Now, don't get me wrong. I haven't worked out the whole chicken egg scenario here because, truth be told, I would have thought that we have enough farmland and enough cattle to be able to supply 22 settlers. Well, then that brings us to the next point. Why are we running out of food? I don't know whether it's just because we keep doing these major projects, which tears away our settlers from their usual tasks of creating food, farming, etc., etc. And so they don't have time to produce food because of this. So now, if that is the case, if it all just boils down to the fact that I'm tearing them away from their usual tasks of creating food, probably not overly bright that I've started another massive project, but I'll be the one laughing if it does turn out we just don't have enough farmland and this does help us. So, yeah. Now, look, I could do the math and work it out, but where's the fun in that? So now we've planned out all this section here. It's time for us to start digging it out. I would like to have the bridge here completed by the end of this episode. It'd be really nice if I can even get around to damming this section off here so then I don't flood this. That'd be great. But we're not going to push too far. One thing at a time. Fantastic. That's now the outline. Now what we'll do is we'll go down a level and then we'll just fill in the gaps. Fantastic. So now they'll go down underneath, they'll start digging it all out, and this top layer here, not being connected to anything, will just break away, halving our digging time, which is always good. We're not here to watch digging all the bloody time. We're here to watch some ridiculous castle get built, and I wouldn't call that ridiculous yet. I'd say that's on its way, but I wouldn't class this as being ridiculous. It's maybe branched out from being a castle and maybe heading towards a walled city, maybe? I don't know. But I'm sure once we have this new section in, it will definitely be classed as ridiculous. And there we go. We've dug out this section here. The next thing we need to do is build the bridge from this gate all the way down to here to this entrance. But before we can do that, we have to dig out this wall. But before we do that, we have to dam off this section here so the water doesn't then rush in here and flood this, which we don't want to do that just yet. So we're just going to use limestone block walls. We'll go back 5 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Straight across. And another one. Done. That will be the wall that will run all the way out here to the tower. Now, what we'll do is we'll just grab a whole bunch of people and prioritize it so we can get it done nice and quick, so then we can start planning out the next part of the day. And there we go. We're all dammed off. Now we just have to wait for the water to dissipate. And now we're ready to start building the bridge. We'll start over here at the towers. We'll add limestone block walls either side. Now we're going to copy the aesthetics of this tower here, but we're going to do it on both sides. What do I mean by that? As you see, it juts in one space. We're going to do the same over here. So we know these walls come out this far. Oh, hang on, no they don't. What's going on here? Okay, so we've made this too big. Thought I made it too big. I was looking at it when we were building it and I was saying, oh, that didn't look quite right. But then I just took it down as the angle we're at. In fact, that doesn't need to be dirt. We can make this limestone block. That's not the end of the world. Now, as I was saying, before I discovered yet another mistake is it's going to jut in one. So that means like so. We'll come up again, do the other side. There we go. Now we need to add limestone block arches. We'll put one there, one there. We can then add limestone block to the top. And there we go. So next, we need to add limestone block to this section here, and we'll add the soil to here. Done. Now we'll add the limestone block arches from here to here, and we'll put limestone on top. That's the first little section. We can then add the merlons. Fantastic. Next, we need to add limestone block walls here and here. Like so. Then limestone block arches here and here. There we go. Now, as you see, that is mimicking the front door here. I really got to laugh when I have a look at the amount of mistakes that I've made in this episode so far. I'm going to go back through the editing later and be like, what on earth were you doing, Sterling? See, this is what happens when you try and plan things out before you've had your morning coffee. You just can't do it. Your mind doesn't switch on. In saying that, now it's time to do more counting, which hasn't really worked out for me thus far, but I'm going to have a crack at it. So we know from this edge here, it should be 30 across. Should be. I have counted it several times and still made mistakes, but we're going to pretend like we know what we're doing. So what we're going to want to do is have 10 off this wall here. So it will be 1, 2, and 10, placing a block wall there. Now an arch should fit. Yes. So we'll double that up and we'll do it over here as well. Then we'll add limestone block arches and done. Now we'll do the same thing over here. Done. Now we could just fit the next lot of limestone arches in between, as you can see, because there's a 10 width space there, which works out perfect. Or we could build something a little special like this, round it off on the edges, like that, and then add the archway. Or we could even go so far as to do something like that. Though truth be told, after piss farting around, I ended up just settling with single file pillars. Now just go across and add the limestone block floor, and then the merlons. Now with this whole design, I've been flirting with a few different ideas. There was even a point where I was thinking about maybe knocking these merlons out and actually expanding this a little bit and creating 2 little platforms either side. Then I could put merchant stalls either side. And so when the merchants come to visit, they would actually be out here. Now, I haven't tossed that idea away, but the reason why I haven't gone ahead and done something like that yet is because I don't want anything to interfere with the archers attacking the enemies on the bridge as they march in. Truth be told, I was actually even thinking about knocking out the merlons because that adds a little form of protection for them. All it would take is for them to actually start using them, and even though we're higher up, I don't want to give the enemy any extra chances. But I'm vain and decided to go with looks over practicality, so merlons. Now let's hit play and see if they can build this without me interfering and stuffing up and doing anything else stupid. just in the nick of time, as winter is hitting, we have finished the entrance bridge. That is fantastic. I must admit, I was a little worried about how it would look, especially when it came to the singular pillars. But honestly, I really like that. It's just a shame that we're going to be encasing it with walls and such. I'm getting dreadfully low on limestone. I've only got 86 left. We're definitely going to have to mine some more. And I've dropped from about 3,500 limestone brick to just over 2,500. And so that will use up the last little bit of limestone we have, starting to rebuild that. So I think it's finally time for us to utilise a home away from home over here at the mine. Though unfortunately, that will have to wait for another episode, as this is all the time we have for today. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.